I think it's important to keep in mind the target objectives and vocabulary for the lesson. So you can get off course sometimes with students, and sometimes it's because you're really excited because the student is finally sharing something with you and you're having a conversation, and you don't want to stop them from speaking. I think that just keeping in mind what you're wanting to accomplish and the targets that you are supposed to be hitting in that lesson and whether or not you've hit them is important. So it's great to extend, but we still have to cover all of the material. So I think limiting it to maybe 1 or 2 questions per slide is a great way to make sure that you don't overextend, and absolutely be checking the class timer throughout class. So one thing I'd like to do is to ask the student a question that is obviously wrong. So if we're looking at a picture of a school, I might say, "Is this a house?" And the student usually says very dramatically, "No, no, this is not a house." So that's one way to check to see if they really do understand what they're looking at. Also relating it to the student. So if you're talking about swimming or reading, can you swim? Can you read? That also allows them to demonstrate that they understand what you're asking, that they have learned that word or concept.
Look. What class is it? What class is it? Is art class.
It is art
Class.
class. It is art class.
What class is it? Is it art class?
No!
No. What class is it? It is music class.
It is your class.
Music. Music class.
You get class.
There you go. What class? Music class.
Good class.
I try to do that depending on the student's ability, but really depending on watching the flow of the lesson, trying to know what's still left to cover in the lesson. So of course, if we're reaching the end and we're ahead of time, I know that I have plenty of time to extend. If the student struggles early on, then I'll know that I really need to stay right within those objectives until we've mastered that at a more appropriate level, until we're really working on extension and different things like that. But I really think too that that watching how the student is responding will really give me a clue to the level of extension that's possible. So as we're watching the student find success, and then we're able to extend, and then I go back to make sure that the student remembers. And again, that's another opportunity for repetition. So as the student can use that sentence frame again, as we approach the end of the lesson, then we're going back. And that's, to get back to the first part of the question, how do I make sure that we reach those objectives? To constantly go back and check, make sure that that sentence comes up again, or that question. Where do you sleep? I sleep in a bed, and see if the student remembers that after we've extended to other things. And it's going back, checking again. Okay, did we cover that? How well does the student remember that? I think that giving the opportunity for the student to show application is key, because I don't know if they really remember it by the end of the lesson unless I give that opportunity for them to show that they can use that sentence again or remember that vocabulary word again. So I think it's just a matter of revisiting the lesson objectives before we close the lesson to make sure that we've covered that, to make sure that the student has a grasp of that. Does she go to school? Yes?
Yes.
School?
No.
School?
No. No, she does not.
No.
She does not.
She does not.
Very good. Great job, Juice. Great job.